Go away, bitch. Don't come over here. Kara, call the cops.
If you thought the Kada Scott case couldn't get any more confusing, well, today just proved everybody wrong. Because brand new footage just leaked online. Footage nobody was supposed to see. And it shows something that has the entire internet arguing, investigators scrambling, and officers openly admitting they are confused. The clip is grainy, the angle is weird, but one thing is crystal clear. A mysterious man in a dark hoodie shows up in the exact time frame Kada Scott disappeared, and the way he moves, the way he pauses, the way he looks straight into the camera like he knows something, it's sending chills through everybody watching. Within minutes of the leak hitting social media, fans were shocked, comment sections blew up, and people started asking the same question. Who is this guy? And why does he look like he's waiting for someone? Even officers reviewing the footage reportedly said the timing doesn't make sense, and that the presence of this hooded man complicates the entire timeline. Rumors, theories, contradictions, everything is exploding again. And tonight, we're diving deep into why this one shadowy figure could flip the entire Kada Scott investigation upside down. In the hours after the leaked footage went viral, the entire mood around the Kada Scott case shifted in a way nobody expected. It wasn't just another blurry clip or some random rumor thrown into the timeline. This one felt heavy, intentional, almost like someone wanted the world to see it, but also wanted to hide at the same time. The man in the dark hoodie moved through that alley like he had rehearsed every single step, like he knew exactly which camera angles wouldn't catch his face and which shadows would swallow him whole. And the scariest part? People recognized the body language, even when they couldn't recognize the face. Fans said he walked like someone familiar, someone who had been mentioned in the case before, someone whose name had been buried under silence for months. Emotions ran high as thousands of comments questioned how this detail was missed for so long. At the same time, officers reviewing the video admitted off-record that they were confused and that the timing didn't match their original timeline at all. Kada's family reacted almost immediately. Her sister, who had been quiet for weeks, suddenly posted a cryptic message saying, "So this is what they didn't want us to see." It sent the internet into a frenzy. People began connecting dots that maybe didn't even belong together, but the theories just kept growing. The family was left divided as some believed the man could be connected to a personal conflict Kada had before she went missing, while others insisted he was a total stranger sent to throw investigators off. Friends from her job commented that Kada had been paranoid in the last few weeks, sensing someone was following her, someone who never showed his face, someone who always stayed just far enough away to avoid being caught. It suddenly didn't feel like a random disappearance anymore. It felt planned, organized, and calculated. As more people analyzed the footage, a chilling detail surfaced. The man wasn't just walking. At one point, he paused, pulled out his phone, and pointed it toward the left side of the alley, exactly where Kada was last seen on the store camera. Why was he recording? Who was he sending it to? And why did he turn his head slightly, almost like he was talking to someone behind him that the footage never caught? This tiny moment sparked heated arguments online. Fans were shocked, saying they had never seen an investigation with this many unexplained holes. Then a witness from the neighborhood stepped forward, claiming she had seen Kada arguing with a man in a dark hoodie 2 nights before the footage was taken. According to her, emotions ran high, voices were raised, and Kada looked terrified. But when she reported it earlier, officers allegedly brushed it aside due to lack of evidence. Now, with this new video, her statement suddenly mattered. The internet turned on the investigators instantly, accusing them of ignoring early warnings and mishandling key information. Officers confused became the headline everywhere. While the drama unfolded publicly, behind the scenes, people close to Kada revealed that she had told them someone had been watching her for weeks. She had mentioned a man who wore the same style of dark hoodie, someone who always seemed to be around but never got close enough to confront. Friends described her emotional state as fragile, anxious, and constantly on edge. Some even said she talked about cutting people off because she didn't trust anyone anymore. Betrayals, accusations, and secrets began spilling as more people shared their experiences. The tension grew when a former coworker said she once saw Kada receiving a message from an unknown number that read, "You won't run this time." People immediately tied this threatening line to the hooded figure. If that message was real, then the man wasn't random. He had a purpose. He had a motive. And he had been waiting for the right moment to make his move. As the footage continued circulating, online detectives slowed it down frame by frame, claiming they saw the man tuck something into his pocket, something shaped like a folded note or a small device. Others believed it was simply his hand, but the uncertainty only added fuel to the fire. Officers tried to calm the chaos by holding a brief press interaction, but instead of clarity, their vague responses made everything worse. They admitted the video raises new questions, and one officer even slipped up saying, "This changes the timeline significantly," before quickly correcting himself. By midnight, Kada's best friend broke down on a live stream, saying she felt guilty for not believing Kada when she said someone was after her. Tears streamed down her face as she repeated that Kada had begged her to stay with her on the night she disappeared, but she couldn't. Fans flooded the chat with sympathy and anger, claiming the system failed another young woman. And right when emotions were at their peak, another twist entered the story. A shadowy figure appeared at the edge of the frame when the hooded man turned around. It was barely visible, but it looked like another person was standing deeper in the alley, watching him. Two people? Working together? If that was the case, then everything the public believed was only half the truth. The moment the internet caught this second shadow, theories exploded. Some said it was Kada herself. Others said it was an accomplice. Some even claimed it was just a glitch. But the uncertainty was enough to divide everyone. The final straw came when an anonymous account posted that authorities had known about the hooded man weeks earlier, but kept it quiet to prevent panic. Whether true or not, it created outrage and mistrust. The public demanded answers. Officers remained silent, and the narrative spiraled into chaos as people questioned what else had been hidden. That realization hit harder than anything revealed earlier. Investigators who had been quietly confident about their earlier assumptions suddenly found themselves staring at a possibility they never prepared for. If the hooded man wasn't acting alone, then every detail they had dismissed, every witness they overlooked, every inconsistency they brushed aside could connect to something much bigger than a simple disappearance. The family felt this shift instantly. Kada's mother reportedly called the department demanding an update, saying she knew her daughter had sensed danger long before anyone believed her. Friends reposted old messages where Kada hinted she was being set up for something she didn't understand. Fans were shocked once again, flooding timelines with rage and heartbreak as they pieced together the newly emerging puzzle. And as the final seconds of the footage replayed across every platform, one chilling truth became impossible to ignore in that moment. The moment investigators realized the hooded man might not have been alone, everything about the Kada Scott case shifted into another dimension of chaos. Because if a second figure really was there, lurking just outside the camera's view, then the entire narrative wasn't just fractured, it was practically shattered. Officers who had previously been confident in their theories now found themselves questioning every assumption. Off the record, one investigator reportedly said, "If there was a second person, we're dealing with something far more organized than we imagined." That sentence alone sent the internet spiraling into new layers of speculation. Fans were shocked, arguing that this wasn't just a disappearance. This was starting to look like a setup crafted with intention, timing, and precision. People began rewatching every available clip, screenshotting frames, zooming into pixels, trying to identify shapes in the darkness. What looked like random shadows earlier now seemed like potential clues. A blurred outline behind the dumpster. A faint reflection in the store window. A silhouette that didn't match the movement of the hooded man. And while officers said they couldn't confirm a second figure yet, their hesitation only fueled the drama even more. Because if they were confused, the public took that as evidence that something deeper was going on. Emotions ran high as old arguments resurfaced, accusing investigators of missing crucial details from the start. Meanwhile, Kada's cousin came forward with a disturbing revelation. She claimed that 2 weeks before Kada disappeared, she received a panicked call from her saying someone was trying to trap her in something she wanted nothing to do with. She said Kada's voice was shaking, rushed, and filled with fear. almost like she knew someone was closing in on her. But when the cousin urged her to explain, Kada simply whispered, "I can't say it over the phone." The call ended abruptly, and Kada never brought it up again. This single emotional detail added another layer of mystery, convincing fans that whatever happened wasn't random at all. As the footage spread, online detectives uncovered something chilling, a brief moment where the hooded man seemed to react to a sound, something coming from deeper inside the alley. He turned his head sharply, almost like someone had signaled to him. That movement changed everything. If he was waiting for instructions, then he wasn't acting alone. This theory exploded across social media, with people claiming they saw a faint shadow lift its hand from behind a stack of crates. Whether it was a glitch, a trick of the light, or a real person, nobody could say for sure. But it pushed the narrative into overdrive. At the same time, the neighborhood witness who claimed she saw Kada arguing earlier came out with even more details. She said she remembered hearing a second voice during the argument, a quiet, low tone that didn't sound like the hooded man. But when she reported it weeks ago, she said officers dismissed it, saying she might have been mishearing due to distance. Now that information became crucial. Fans were furious, saying the case was mishandled from day one. But the biggest twist came when a store employee shared security footage from the day after Kada disappeared. In this new clip, a different man, this one with a baseball cap and a heavy jacket, was seen walking the same alley, stopping in the same spot where the hooded man had paused. He looked around nervously, wiped his hands on his jacket, and then quickly left. Some people believed it was just a coincidence, but others argued that his behavior suggested he was looking for something left behind. An object? A message? A clue? Emotions ran high as more people questioned whether Kada was targeted by more than one person. Kada's best friend, still shaken from her emotional live stream, came forward again. She said Kada once told her she felt like she was being pushed into a dangerous situation involving two men she didn't trust. According to her, Kada didn't say their names, only that they were connected in ways she didn't understand. This confession, resurfacing now, intensified everything. Fans were shocked that so many warnings had been ignored. Meanwhile, investigators held another brief conference where a spokesperson said they were actively reviewing new leads. But their careful phrasing raised red flags. They refused to confirm whether they believed multiple individuals were involved, and their silence only deepened public suspicion. Off-camera reporters claimed they overheard an officer saying, "This isn't just a missing person case anymore." That comment spread like wildfire, reshaping the conversation. Online theories flooded the internet. Some believed Kada stumbled into something criminal and became a target. Others argued she might have been set up by someone she trusted. And a darker theory suggested the hooded man and the shadowy figure were part of a coordinated effort to mislead investigators. None of this was proven, but the speculation created tension between fans, family, and officers, everyone desperate for answers, but unsure who to trust. Then, late that night, a brand new detail emerged. A neighbor released audio recorded from a security camera microphone. In the background, faint footsteps were heard, two distinct patterns walking seconds apart. One heavy, one lighter. This audio shook the investigation. If the two-step pattern belonged to the hooded man and the second figure, then every theory about multiple suspects gained more credibility. Fans replayed the audio nonstop, analyzing the rhythm, arguing about whether the second set of steps sounded like someone taller, shorter, younger, or older. As pressure grew, officers were forced to expand their search radius. They began revisiting areas they previously dismissed, looking for any evidence that might link the hooded man to another accomplice. But this expansion created tension between departments. Anonymous insiders claimed some investigators wanted to pursue the multiple suspect angle aggressively, while others insisted it was just online hysteria. The family watched all of this unfold helplessly. And then another emotional blow hit the public. A message from Kada's mother surfaced. She wrote that she always felt her daughter was being surrounded by the wrong people, and that Kada once cried in her arms saying she was scared of something she couldn't explain. This heartbreaking detail reignited the outrage. Fans said the system failed her long before the footage surfaced. By now, the narrative had fully shifted. It wasn't just about a hooded man. It wasn't just about a second shadow. It was about a chain of ignored warnings, emotional breakdowns, and silent red flags leading up to Kada's disappearance. And as officers reviewed all this new information, they noticed something in the footage they had completely missed before, a detail so subtle, so easy to overlook, that it forced them to reconsider everything once again. Because right there in the background of the final frame, something flickered, a movement that didn't match either shape they had identified so far. Something that suggested the alley wasn't hiding just two people, but possibly a third. The investigation shifted into its most chaotic phase, yet as officers replayed the footage with the mysterious third movement in mind. For days, the public had been going back and forth about the hooded man and the faint second shadow, but now this new flicker in the frame created a wave of panic that no one was prepared for. If the alley held not one, not two, but possibly three individuals on the night Kada Scott disappeared, then everything the officers believed about the timeline, the sequence of events, and even the motive had to be reconsidered. It wasn't a small twist. It was the kind of revelation that turned a confusing disappearance into a multi-layer puzzle. Fans were shocked once again. Comment sections lit up with theories that the entire alley had been staged as some kind of meeting point. Some insisted that the hooded man was the distraction while the real orchestrators stayed in the shadows. Others argued that the third flicker suggested someone recording the confrontation from another angle. It didn't help that officers remained quiet, issuing no clarifications, no reassuring statements, just silence that felt heavier than the footage itself. Meanwhile, tension inside the Scott family reached a breaking point. Kada's aunt posted an emotional video saying she always knew more people were involved than anyone wanted to admit. She recalled a night months earlier when Kada came home trembling, saying she felt followed by multiple individuals, not just one. According to her, Kada kept repeating that she didn't know why she was being watched, but she had a bad feeling something was building. This emotional confession, resurfacing now, pushed the internet into overdrive. At the same time, a detail previously ignored gained new attention: the hooded man's final hand signal. Investigators slowed the footage further, isolating the movement frame by frame. What looked like a simple gesture now appeared deliberate, a quick lift of the wrist, like someone giving a cue. But a cue to whom? If the second shadow was an accomplice, then perhaps the third was waiting behind the wall or near the dumpster. The idea of multiple individuals working in sync created a chilling possibility. Kada had been lured into a coordinated trap. An online blogger uncovered another twist. She pointed out that a parked car in the alley, previously dismissed as irrelevant, had its headlights flicker for a split second right when the hooded man turned. Some argued it was the camera glitching, but others believed someone inside the car was signaling back. The theory exploded instantly. If a vehicle was involved, then the alley wasn't the final location, it was just the starting point. Then, someone from Kada's workplace anonymously leaked messages she had sent just days before disappearing. In them, Kada complained she felt pressured by two men she barely knew, and she hinted they were connected to someone bigger. She didn't explain further, but her tone was frantic, tired, and scared. The leaked text showed her saying, "They think I'm involved in something I'm not, and I feel like they're watching every move I make." Fans were heartbroken reading her words, realizing she had been crying out for help long before going missing. As public pressure mounted, investigators were forced to conduct a reanalysis of the entire area. This time, they brought in advanced scanning equipment, motion tracking, and even heat map reconstruction. The results weren't released publicly, but insiders claimed officers found inconsistencies in the alley footprint, meaning more than one person might have been present. The phrase spread like wildfire. People demanded to know what footprint inconsistency meant. Was it a mark on the ground? A shift in shadows? A body heat trace the camera picked up earlier? The lack of clarity only made things worse. Meanwhile, Kada's best friend returned online with a heartbreaking statement. She said Kada once told her she overheard two men arguing about her name, as if they were discussing something she didn't want to be part of. According to her, Kada said she walked away quickly before they saw her, but she felt their eyes on her every day afterward. The emotional weight of these memories created an uproar. Fans felt the tragedy wasn't just about a disappearance. It was about a young woman trying desperately to escape something she couldn't even name. Then another major development emerged. A neighbor's dog camera caught audio from the same night. The footage was dark and blurry, but the audio captured something chilling. 3 distinct voices echoing softly, overlapping, whispering. The clip wasn't clear enough to identify the words, but the tones were unmistakable. One deep and commanding, one quick and shaky, and one barely audible. Fans debated endlessly which voice might have belonged to Kada, if any. But the idea of 3 voices matched perfectly with the emerging theory. 3 individuals were in that alley. As the internet exploded with new speculation, a retired detective stepped into the conversation. He posted a detailed breakdown saying that coordinated disappearances often involve multiple roles: the watcher, the signaler, and the closer. His analysis went viral. People connected the hooded man to the closer, the shadowy figure to the watcher, and the flickering movement to the signaler. Whether the theory was true or not didn't matter. It fit too well with what the footage suggested. Kada's mother, overwhelmed by the rising pressure, posted a long message where she said she always feared her daughter was being manipulated by people pretending to be her friends. She said Kada once mentioned someone warning her to stay quiet or things would get worse. That line struck the internet like lightning. It suggested intimidation, fear, and an emotional battle Kada had been fighting alone. Officers finally acknowledged the possibility of multiple suspects, but refused to share details. Their brief statement only fueled more chaos. "We are expanding the investigation beyond our initial scope." Fans demanded transparency, but the more silence the department kept, the more theories multiplied. By now, the conversation reached a boiling point. Some believed Kada stumbled onto something she wasn't supposed to see. Others were convinced she had been misled into trusting the wrong people. And some insisted the 3 individuals in the alley were connected to a deeper network. But the biggest twist came when officers revisited the footage one last time and noticed something shocking in the corner of the frame, something so faint that it had gone unnoticed in every previous review. It wasn't a shadow, it wasn't a glitch, and it wasn't one of the 3 figures. It was movement coming toward the alley, a 4th presence stepping into the darkness, and this time, it wasn't moving away.